Hi today. My question today it's about women as objects in society, right? An object versus being a subject, being maybe discussed or brought into a conversation versus just being seen as the physicality. You're a woman and you have female parts and that's all you're recognised for. I want to touch on this because it is a really, really super difficult aspect of my life. A lot of strange behaviour that or different situations I went through in my life were governed by these situations, being, put upon, spoken badly to, like I've put in, here. There's so much goes on that women being just, I can think of so many words and situations, and I'm just trying to clear my head so I stay straight on this. It is coming to not a close. I don't know if it'll ever come to a close, but what will happen, the only way anything can happen is if each one of us, each woman who has been through this or hasn't, we're all different. I'm yet to meet a woman that hasn't had something, hasn't been subject to something untowards that they did not want and they did not invite. Now, I know for me, poor treatment or weird treatment started when I was really, really young. I mean, the other day I was talking with my sister about this, and I said, you know what? I started thinking about this, and instead of it just being the really big things in my life that went on, the horrible, huge things, and horrible they were, I started to think back to just inappropriate moments, touching, speaking, suggestions, innuendo, shaming, calling names, touching in a way that it might not have been touching specific parts, but it was most certainly taking liberties with my body. Now, firstly, all women, I'm going to say to you this one thing. This is not just a body. Like for me, this is my home. This is where I live. This body is where I live. My body resides in this unit, but where I live is in this body. So, I mean, if I want to get out of the house, I just go out the door, hop in the car and go. If I don't want to be at the shops, I get in the car, come home. If I want to visit a friend, I hop in the car and go. If I want to go for a walk, I put my joggers on and I leave. But I cannot leave my body. Well, there's one way to leave. We all know that one, and that's pretty permanent. But what needs to be understood in this time, on this planet, by all people, not just men, I mean everybody. Our bodies are our homes. So when someone decides they can just touch, treat, or do whatever untoward, let's say to me, then what they're doing is they're doing this to my home. They're having, like when men have an opinion, oh, hey, I like your ass, I like your tits, or I don't like this, I don't like that, or whatever. It's like, I don't need your approval. I don't care what you think. This is my home. I can't get out. I can't hop out. And why should I feel uncomfortable because some asshole wants to start directing untoward comments at me or innuendo or, like I said, that sort of thing? What needs to be understood is women, now I'm honing back down onto women, our bodies are our homes and they are ours, not anybody else's. Nobody has the right. Nobody has the right. Hey, Tiff. Love you, girl. Nobody has the right to impose anything on a woman. If she doesn't want it, she doesn't want it. And there is no, it's like a man. If you try to impose these kinds of thinking and poor behaviour and pathetic social, what would it be, like low social standards, men would be up in arms. Well, maybe they wouldn't, because they don't think like women, right? They don't think like us. It's as simple as that. There's very big differences, which I won't go into right now, but there's huge differences, and they're based in epigenetics. It's not just some pie in the sky, oh, someone wrote a happy, fluffy book about this or that. No, it's real. Epigenetics is real. Epigenetics just means above the genes, so before the genes. So before you had your nose like your mum, or your eyes like your grandfather, or, big toe like your great-grandfather, there is stuff in your genes that came with you from your ancestors, right? Long time ago. It's called a genetic code. Anyway, I digress. Today, I want to talk about that the strength of women, the upcoming strength of women, where we band together. We stand behind each other when we need it. We know when other women need help. We know, but we've been taught to compete and compare. It's destructive, but we do. We compete and we compare. Am I as good as her? Is she good as me? I think that's better than her. It's destructive, and it's not how women function. In fact, that's why there's a lot of dysfunction, is because we've been taught to go against what we know. We are nurturers. We are creators. We create life. That sets us apart from the other gender. Or, now we're all multi-gender, aren't we? So no disrespect to anybody. But if you're born with a uterus, you're a woman. That's it. You're who I'm talking to. Now, what's happening on this planet, and what I am at the forefront of, is a unification of women where we come together. I don't have to be in someone's business. I don't have to be partaking in their decision making. I don't need to know every in and out to help someone. There was an incident at Sydney Airport recently. I was reading a story. Hey, Megan, love you, girl. There was a story I read, and it's the most brilliant explanation about women, right? Because when there's a threat, men, it's fight or flight, right? That's how they're set up. Now, women, it's we stay and hover. We hover. Oh, darn, I can't remember it. We hover and we protect, basically. So when the shit hits the fan, the women, they come together, right? And they are a force to be reckoned with. Sydney Airport. Now, I'll try to tell the story as best I can, as best I remember. A young woman pregnant with a little 2-year-old son, waiting in the departure lounge. The flight was late. This girl was obviously distressed. Now, a woman that wasn't part of this actually wrote this story when she got on the plane, and then put it into social media when she got off the plane. Now, this young girl was quite distressed. She's pregnant. She's got a young son who's now starting to act up. Now, anybody with kids, we know what goes on. Here you are, you're at the airport. It's not the best place to be, with your kids. It's very temporary. You've got bags to worry about, and tickets and people, and everything costs a fortune, and the toilets are always too far away. So this little boy's running around, jumping on seats, squealing, running around in and out of passengers. And, people are starting to, they do that thing, they're craning, looking what's going on. Where's the mother? What's happening? And men doing the thing, another bad kid. So she was obviously distressed, this girl, right? So she'd actually had just dropped her face into her hands and started to cry. So she was very heavily pregnant. And again, if you've had a baby, heavily pregnant's not the most emotionally balanced time in your life. Even close. Anyway, out of nowhere, now I have to pause every now and then and stop because it makes me cry. Out of nowhere, 6 different women, not all at once, came out of the crowd one sat down with the little boy. She had a little toy in her bag and she took it out and she played with the little boy and they played little toy. Another woman had an apple, which they cut up and they were giving the little boy some apple. One woman had an unopened bottle of water and gave it to the mother. And basically these 6 women, out of nowhere, they didn't know each other. They came together. They sat with this woman. It was, I think, 20 minutes. The woman said it was around 20 minutes. And then the flight was being, boarded. And as the flight was, being boarded, all the women, the little boy had calmed down. The young girl, she was much more calm. 2 of the women had spoken with her. And, as we do as women, we care and we nurture and we speak in that nice dulcet tone. It's that calming tone. Then when the flight was ready to board, the 6 women just simply disappeared off into the crowd and went their own way. And just this magnificent, oh, there we go, I'm going to cry, hang on. These 6 women came together and banded together and helped this young woman. This is the kind of thing that I want to talk about that is super strong in women, that society has tried to, society run by men, men that want to stay in power. They try to keep us separated. So like I said, comparison and competition was one thing that they do with women, and it's a crime. But going back to where I started, I was, poorly treated throughout my life. I looked at things from when I was younger and they were even as simple as I'll show you mine and you show me yours. And I was 5 years old. This guy, I really don't know how old he was. He could have been, 15, 18, 20, don't know. So throughout life, I was never taught to stand up for yourself and that this sort of behaviour is unacceptable. All women that I know of didn't, we just kind of tolerated it. And it was a bit, that's just men for you. All the way through my life. So I was treated poorly because I allowed myself to be treated poorly. I didn't know this at the time, right? I didn't know this. So as I grew older, the situations got worse. I started hanging with people that disrespected me because I disrespected myself. Society had taught me, or the rules or the the conditioning that we go through had taught me to not value my feminine self. So this poor behaviour continued to, in the end, even in between the poor behaviour, I just picked up the habit and treated myself poorly. So wherever they left off, I picked up and ran with the baton and was treating myself poorly. This goes on everywhere. Women every day, from very young ages, because it's fobbed off or it's not taken seriously. It is now. It's getting taken more seriously now. Little girls, young women, young adults into women to medium age to old age, same deal. Same deal. We allowed it to happen. Because we thought, I didn't even question, did I have a voice? Like, I didn't question, can I say something or can I not say something? I used physical force back quite a few times. I was lucky it ended there. It did bring out an angry, very angry and violent side of me. The one that competed with men. You were going to give me a hard time, then I would meet you toe to toe. And I would bring it. I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to have to protect myself that way. However, I learned a way to protect myself against men. So what I'm getting to is there is this behaviour that women get into. We lock ourselves into this because we think, one, that it's normal. It's happened for so long. But also then we start to believe that we must be worth this shitty treatment, this absolutely fucked up shitty treatment. That, I must be worthless. I must be useless. I must be horrible. I must be a slut. I must be a slag. Or I must be a fucking waste of space or a whore or a whatever. You know, we've heard it all. You know, you've either heard it in your life, you've heard somebody else being spoken to that way, or television's another great way to see it. I mean, it's had an outlet there for which reminds me of, I'm going to put it in my thing here, about movies. It's just called the Bechdel Test. And it's about movies. Do they meet this Bechdel test, which is, it's about in women in movies, do they have a name? They must, okay, to pass this test, the women in the movies must have a name. They must speak to another woman, and it mustn't, and it's not talking about a man, all right? There's so many movies that don't meet this, this requirement. I'll put the link in here after the video, and you can go and have a read yourself. It's very worth looking at to understand how the mind fuck has been going on for fucking centuries, decades, well, centuries before telling you, but how it goes on, how it slips in, and how this poor behaviour slips in. Anyway. So there's a lot of women out there that we all smile on the outside. We all smile. We look good. We don't look broken. We don't look like we're bleeding a bloody river on the inside, and we're about like a half an inch from our head blowing off and wanting to scream and just cry until you just die. All women, we learn it from each other. We learned it from our mothers. They learned it from their mother, where you just, what is it? Grin and bear it. So there's a lot of women out there smiling through the pain, through the drama, while they continue. What happens is you continue to reinforce this really shitty idea of who you are. And it's really wrong. It's really sad. It's really horrible. It's a really, really difficult way to live. I only know from my own experience, okay? It was horrible. And I kept it in my head, but every day I was doing this, you know, I had to be sensible, be good, look good, be successful, have it together, have your shit together, be in the running, be in the race, keep it there, keep smiling, get your lipstick on. Ah. No. Last year, because I've done a lot of self-help stuff, a lot of learning videos, seminars, webinars, positive affirmations. I mean, I've done tons for years, but nothing stuck. Nothing stayed. Nothing fixed things permanently, or to a way where it was fixed and it stayed fixed. Every time I tried something and it went wrong, I would come out of it and just think that I was more useless, I was more dumb, I was probably more useless and dumb than anyone on the planet, and that it just wasn't going to work on me because I was worthless. And that wasn't true. So in all of my efforts, and everybody who's known me, and there's some people watching this that know me or related to me, now I just digressed then and I forgot where I was going. I wanted to know, I wanted to get over it. I really wanted to get over it. I was so tired of sabotaging myself, and because I really, at this point in self-help, I could see that I was the problem, and that thought processes were the problem. But do you think for the life of me, I could just get it out of my head, that I could find whatever it was that would get me over the line and keep me over the line? Anyway, I found Creatrix, Transformology. I did a really intense course on this. I not only got over my own emotional blocks, my own traumas, my own genetic cup that was just like brimming with, well, everyone that previous to me in this genetic line. Anyway, I went through this process and eliminated it to the point where triggers, I used to have triggers. There would be stuff trigger me, music, smells, locations, people, situations, images. And I had no chance of controlling it when it would hit, because I didn't have control, because everything I was doing It was on a conscious and a subconscious level. Anything you want to change or anything you want to get rid of, it's all on the unconscious level, which you can't get to through self-help books, self-help seminars. It doesn't matter how much of that you do. It can make you feel better. Absolutely. I am all for it. However, if you really want to get beyond the crap and the shit and the stuff that's going on in you that you silently don't tell anyone, and you know what I'm talking about because I know you do. I know you do. But when you want to get rid of that, there is a way. I live a life now. I remember when I did this course, I was actually still on the course. And after one of the days, I'd gone out to get some dinner and I was walking up the road and there was a trigger. I didn't know it straight away because I walked straight past it. I glanced and I kept walking and then I went to go across the road, and as I was halfway across the road, my brain said, wait a minute. And I turned back and had a look and thought, and I remember having to walk to the middle of the road. I thought, God, don't stop in the middle, in the middle of the lane. Actually get to the middle of the road if you have to stop, which I did. And I turned back around and I looked and I thought, oh my God, I felt nothing. The pit of my gut, nothing, not a thing, just vacant space to feel good. That to me was earth-shattering, mind-blowing, of proportions that I hadn't experienced in my life. I mean, that was the, oh my God. And other things that stopped too. I mean, I had such a head full. I was so hard on myself, so unbelievably hard on myself that I would wake up in the mornings and I would feel dread. It was just this horrible feeling of like a belly full of cement, a head full of crap. And I think I went into robot mode before I even got up, and it was just horrible, horrible, horrible. And it had gone on for years. Well, that stopped too. I woke up one morning during the course and I was lying in bed looking out the window and I thought, oh my God, I don't feel that. So anyway, going back, the one way to unlock all of this crap, and it's not just being a female and being treated like an object in life. There's lots of other things that go on for us that we take on board because women think differently, right? We have 8 times more chemical and hormone to feel emotions. 8 times than men. We have 23% more connectivity between the left and the right hemispheres of our brains. So that in alone, we think differently. So how we function in life and how we store and deal with upsets is very different, and we harbour them. And what it does is it's just like an analogy that I spoke about a lot of videos ago. It's a Dr. Phil analogy, actually, I think. Anyway, imagine that you're standing about breast deep in water and you're going to be given balls like beach balls, and they're going to be all different sizes, right? And each one of them represents an emotional state. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to try to hold them under the water so nobody sees them, but don't let them pop up, okay? Here's the trick. Can't let them pop up, and you have to keep smiling, okay? So that everyone on the outside looks at you, you just look like you're breast deep in water smiling. You know, your hands are under the water. So I hand you one that's this big. Hold that down. I'm going to give you another one that big. Hold that down too. Okay, you've got one between your knees, you've got one under your arm. Now I'm going to give you 3 about this size. Hold on to them. You're going to get about 45 that are going to range in size from this all the way down to here. Now I want you to hold on to all of them under the water. Stay looking calm, but don't let any of them pop up. Now, I don't know about you, I can feel that in my body that, as just that analogy in my brain converts to my cells going, oh my God, I can't hold all that down. Well, this is what we try to do every day, every little hurt, because we don't have ways to deal with it. Well, we try to deal with it, it's still there. Life is just confusing. Then you go, oh, fuck it. And you just go, I'll just go numb and I'll just fucking deal with it. There you go. And suddenly your life is nothing that you enjoy, nothing that you get joy from. You're not being nice to people around you because, quite frankly, you're not enjoying your life. Or you try to be nice to people and you do that thing, you're nice, and you get home and you just feel hollow. And worse, because you were pretending to be nice. So wouldn't it be nice? Let's use that word nice a few hundred times. Wouldn't it be great if a process said to you, I'm going to let you, and I'm going to ask you to let go of all the balls. Just let them go. Let them go. And now you're just going to lean back and look up, and I want you to do backstroke. Kick your feet, look around. This is what the creatrix process is about. No more balls. No more holding them down. No more bullshit. No more lies. No more trauma. No more stories. No more hurt. Now, this is a really amazing process. It's done with your eyes closed, actually. That's pretty cool. You don't have to relive your story. In fact, it doesn't require that I know your story for me to help you or for this to be successful for you. And it is permanent. The results have been absolutely staggering around this. Now, this process was written by a woman here in Queensland in Australia, up the North Coast. Her name is Marilyn Shermer. We call her Maz. She spent a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of time coming up with this. It's based on, it's not NLP, it's not hypnotherapy, it's nothing like that. It's based on epigenetics. Now, this process, although fairly new, I think it's 5, 6 years old, no one that's had it has reverted back. Everyone has just gone on to live fantastic lives, which I'm one of them. And I can tell you, yes, it does. Absolutely. Absolutely. To the point, if I try to remember things in the past, like if I don't know, pick a situation that was really bad that I used to think about and mull over and oh my God, or I could think for miles on and churn my guts and I can't even find it. I try really hard, but it's like trying to remember maybe a line in a movie that you saw when you were 10. It's impossible because it's gone. It actually removes it. It removes all of this trauma and drama out of your unconscious mind. It recodes it, you relearn, and you recreate. It's an amazing, amazing process. So what I've done, I put my link down the bottom of the information. There's some before and afters, but please go to my webpage and have a read. There's more information there. On my videos, I just want to touch on situations that are pretty day-to-day for us, for women, and discuss them so that I know for me, when I learned that I wasn't the worst, I wasn't the only, oh my God, that was really, I don't know what word, I was really relieved. I really thought that everybody else just had their shit together and they were just, I just thought everyone was, I don't know, that they were normal, but they aren't. So I've learned. So anyway, pop over, have a look. And what I'm offering also, I will put it up later. There's going to be an offer, a freebie for 5 different people, first 5 to call forward. So I can help those 5, and I also would like to get a bit of feedback. So that's another thing again. But anyway, back to, women as objects in society. That's been a very difficult thing for a lot of women. We put up with a lot of stuff. We've felt very separated from ourselves, each other, and really put upon to where these destructive things that go on create these patterns of thinking, these patterns of belief, these negative mind chatter that goes on. And it's unnecessary, fully unnecessary now, because we can get beyond this and we can move to a place where we're healthy and we're happy and we can stand beside each other, help each other, instead of, what a lot of women do. I see women be like super nasty to each other, yet I know deep down why they're doing it, because the nastier they are, the more hurting they are. And we all deal with stuff differently. Anyway, so for this lovely blustery Wednesday, I think there might be I don't know, there's a cyclone moving up the coast. I mean, I think everyone's got a cyclone now, don't they? Waiting off the coast somewhere. They're everywhere. Thank you for listening. Please pop over, like I said, have a look at the webpage. There's a lot of information there. I'm happy to answer questions. Please instant message me. That's fine. But try to understand that you're not wrong, you're not worthless, you're not hopeless, and it wasn't your fault. It just is one of those things that happens. And like I said at the beginning of the video, man, I can track stuff back to when I was 5, and it wasn't like full-on rape, horrible, disgusting situation. It was just all of these small things, and it happens to women everywhere. So no wonder these weird thought patterns come in, or weird ideas that we have about ourselves, or even that we have this body dysmorphic syndrome, which, you know, happens to men too, but it's way more prevalent in women, where if we could feel good about ourselves, we could honestly know who we are. Like they say, if every woman woke up tomorrow feeling comfortable in their skin, billions of dollars would be lost. Industries would crash. Can you believe industries are built around our self-consciousness, and they promote our self-consciousness and our smallness? So, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there, negative. Anyway, thank you very much for looking. Have a look at the page. If you've got anything to ask, I'm happy to answer. And I look forward to coming and talking on Friday. Take care. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to other women. Love you all. Bye now.